I have some question about you putting a question mark after the statement Africa is rising. Is Africa rising?
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, economic growth rates have been very publicized. The size of Africa, there's just more and more people, so Africa is becoming more important, and there's, to put it bluntly, I mean, there is more money to be made in Africa now than I guess ever before, so it's rising in that sense, yes.
But why is the economic growth not similar to like the Asian rising?
Well, it's not similar in the sense that what doesn't seem to be happening is that you're getting the rise either of an industrial sector, which of course would then employ a lot of people and help to spread some of the wealth more through society, but also not, and there are some exceptions, but also not in general, in terms of a more intensive agriculture. And we heard from some of the other speakers how important this is not only for Africa itself, but for the whole world, because we live in a world of 7 billion people, and everybody says that maybe in 35 years' time, by 2050, maybe there'll be 9 billion people, and they all have to be fed. And Africa is one of the last places on earth where you have substantial areas of arable land which are not being very intensively used. So what I'm sure of is it will be used, and African governments which have land in their countries, arable land, they need to think about how they're going to do it in the interest of their own population rather than of anybody else.
So I wanted to continue to say, it was a little bit funny. You said Africa needs luck. What kind of luck do we need?
No, the point I was making is that if governments do the right thing, if governments have good policies which they've thought through and which they implement fully, in other words, not just for a short time or not just in one area of the country, but countrywide, even then they need luck, because things happen. I mean, in the case of Africa, you might have a natural catastrophe. You have a drought. You can have something else, maybe not through your own fault, but there's a problem in a neighboring country, and you have a whole lot of refugees coming or something like that. So you have to have luck as well as good policies for a government. Yeah.
I just want to have this last question, asking you, which African country do you see as a country that's really who's really working to this inclusive growth? Inclusive growth in a sense that the ordinary African can really benefit from the trade policy from the West?
Well, there's a number of African countries which of course are growing very fast and which have clearly thought hard about what it is that they're doing. I would say that in that sense that the best example is probably Rwanda, where the government has a coherent policy. I have to say that there are big political problems in Rwanda which the government doesn't like us to talk about. But I'm afraid that at the moment all over the world there is growing inequality between those who have a lot of money and those who don't have so much money or even none at all. And in that respect, Africa's no different. So it's not just an African problem, it's a wider problem. But clearly in places like China, I mean, the government is giving a lot of attention to the problems that are created by that sort of inequality and trying to spread money. And I'm not sure that every African government is really even thinking about the issue.
And can you give an example how China is doing it and why we have to follow this example?
Oh, I'm not suggesting that you follow the Chinese example. I don't think that's possible because China has such a different history than Africa. I don't think you can follow its example. Well, we all read in the newspapers about China, and it's evident that it's gone in 40 years' time, or even less, from being a poor country with an overwhelmingly small-scale agricultural population to being, by some measures, the biggest economy in the world.